I waited for hours outside her coaching center holding a small gift in my hands, dreaming she would be happy, but when she came out, she walked straight toward another boy, and left me standing in the crowd like a stranger nobody noticed. My name is Jake, and I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me. It started with a decision outside Maya's coaching center. I'd been dating her for 2 years, and I thought I was being this romantic boyfriend. No. Showing with her favorite chocolate, waiting for hours just to surprise her. I genuinely believed she'd light when she saw me. But when she walked out those doors, she didn't even look in my direction. She walked straight toward another guy. Tall, confident, everything I wasn't feeling in that moment. They hugged. They laughed, and I stood there like an invisible man holding melted chocolate, watching the girl I loved act like she didn't even know I existed. That night changed everything. I went home angry, convinced Maya was pulling away from me. The rational part of my brain knew she was just talking to a classmate, but the insecure part, the part that had always whispered I wasn't good enough for her, started screaming. 2 weeks later, I met Sarah at a work conference. Sarah was everything Maya wasn't. Where Maya was quiet and thoughtful, Sarah was loud and spontaneous. Where Maya needed time to process things, Sarah made instant decisions, and most importantly, Sarah noticed me immediately. "Look like need a drink," she said, sliding to me at the hotel bar. Rough day. I should have said I had a girlfriend. Should have politely declined and gone to my room. Instead, I found talking to her for hours. About work, about how sometimes feel invisible even when trying hardest to be seen. "Girlfriend doesn't appreciate," Sarah said after I stupidly told her about the coaching center incident. "Any girl who ignores her boyfriend like that doesn't deserve him." It felt good to hear, but good. We exchanged numbers for work purposes. We started texting daily, innocent at first, then flirtier, then crossing lines I knew I shouldn't cross. "Maya doesn't have to know," became my daily mantra. "It's just talking. It's not like I'm actually doing anything." But I was doing something. I was checking out emotionally, coming home late from work meetings, that were actually long phone calls with Sarah, being distant during movie nights with Maya, making excuses when she wanted to talk about our future. Maya noticed. Of course she noticed. She started asking if everything was okay, if I was happy, if there was something wrong between us. Each question made me feel guiltier, which made me defensive, which made me pull away even more. "Been different lately," she said one night, curled next to me on the couch. "Are sure there's nothing want to talk about?" I looked at her. Really looked at her. At the way she still reached for my hand during movies. At how she'd saved money for months to buy tickets for a concert she knew I wanted to see. At the way she said, instead of, when talking about her dreams. I should have confessed everything right then. Should have deleted Sarah's number and begged Maya to forgive me for the emotional affair I was having. Instead I said everything's fine, just work stress. She believed me. Maya always believed me. The actual betrayal happened 2 months later. Sarah came to town for another conference. We met for dinner and she looked incredible. She kept touching my arm, laughing at my jokes, making me feel like I was the most interesting man alive. "Hotel or mine?" she asked as we left the restaurant. I knew exactly what she meant. Knew exactly what I was about to do. And for one horrible moment, I didn't care about Maya or our plans, or the ring I'd been secretly saving to buy her. I chose Sarah's hotel. That night, I betrayed every promise I'd ever made to Maya without saying a word. I came home at 2 a.m. with a story about helping a colleague with an emergency presentation. Maya was asleep, but she'd left a note on my pillow. "Hope meeting went well. Love." I crumpled that note and it away because I couldn't stand to look at it. For 3 weeks, I lived with the secret. 3 weeks of coming home to Maya's smile, her plans for our weekend getaways, her excitement about the future we were supposedly building together. 3 weeks of feeling like at every time she me good night. Sarah kept texting. Wanted to know when we could see each other again. Started hinting that maybe I should just break with Maya if I was so unhappy. Deserve better than someone who doesn't even notice when trying, she wrote. "I see, Jake. Really see." The worst part, I was starting to believe her. Maya found out on a Tuesday. Not through some dramatic discovery of texts or suspicious behavior. She found out because Sarah posted a picture on social media. A picture of us at that hotel bar, her hand on my chest, both of us looking way too comfortable for two people who were supposedly just colleagues. Maya saw it because one of her friends recognized me and sent her a screenshot with the caption, "Isn't this Jake? Who's the girl?" I came home from work to find Maya sitting on our couch, holding her phone, tears streaming down her face. "Who is she?" she asked quietly. I could have lied. Could have said it was just a work thing, that the photo looked worse than it was. Instead, the guilt I'd been carrying for weeks finally broke me. "Her name is Sarah," I said. "And I so badly." "Maya, how badly?" she whispered. I told her everything, every text, every phone call, every moment I'd chosen Sarah over her. When I got to the hotel night, Maya started shaking. "Slept with her, not a question." She's statement. My bed?" she asked. "Did come home to my bed after being with her." "It's not bed, it's our I'd comama YBD. She screamed. I'd never heard Maya scream. In 2 years she'd never raised her voice at me, not once. Hearing it now felt like being punched in the stomach. "Yes," I admitted. Maya stood, walked to our bedroom, and not frantically, not dramatically, methodically. Like she'd already planned this moment in her head. "Maya, please, can we talk about this? I made a mistake, but I love." She stopped packing and turned to look at me. "Waited outside my coaching center for hours," she said. "Bought me chocolate. Wanted to surprise me." I nodded, confused about why she was bringing this. And when I walked out with my study partner, instead of talking to me about feeling left out, decided to find someone else. But yes, it was exactly like that. Her voice was steady now, deadly calm. Felt ignored for one afternoon and away 2 years. She zipped her suitcase and walked toward the door. "Maya, wait. Please, we can work through this. I'll contact with Sarah, I'll do anything." She turned around one last time. Jake I loved enough to build it with. I trusted completely. And paid me back by sleeping with someone else because I didn't notice in a crowd. Who was more complicated than? "No," she said firmly, "it really wasn't." She left that night and never came back. I found out later that the guy I'd seen her with at the coaching center was her study partner for an exam. They'd been working on a project together, completely platonically. Maya had actually been planning to introduce us that weekend because she thought we'd get along. She'd been excited to tell me about her day, about how well the study session went, about how confident she felt about the exam. Instead, she came home to find me distant and cold, pulling away from her for reasons she couldn't understand. That realization hit me like a truck. I destroyed everything over a misunderstanding that could have been cleared with a single conversation. Sarah stopped texting after a week. Turns out, the thrill of being the other woman disappeared pretty quickly once there was no relationship left to wreck. Now I wake every morning in an empty apartment, surrounded by reminders of the Maya and I built together. Her coffee mug is still in the sink. Her books are still on the shelves. Her spare jacket is still in the closet. I haven't had the heart to pack them. I've written her approximately 50 letters I'll never send. Apologies, explanations, promises I know I can't keep. I've driven by her new apartment more times than I care to admit, hoping to catch a glimpse of her, hoping she might want to talk. She doesn't. Her friends won't speak to me. Her family blocked me on social media. Even my own friends look at me differently now. Word travels fast in our circle, and everyone knows I'm the guy who cheated on Maya, the guy who had everything and away for a hotel room encounter with someone who didn't even stick around for the aftermath. I've started therapy, but it feels like trying to fix a house after I've already burned it to the ground. The therapist keeps asking me why I made the choices I made, and the honest answer is pathetic. I felt sorry for exactly one afternoon, and I let that feeling everything good in Maya was never the problem. I was. She didn't ignore me at the coaching center. She was focused on her future, working hard, building the kind of she wanted us to share. And instead of being proud of her, instead of supporting her dreams, I made her success about my insecurities. I turned the best relationship I'd ever had into a competition I was determined to lose. The worst part isn't the loneliness, though that's crushing. It's knowing that somewhere out there, Maya is learning to trust again, maybe even falling in love again, and it won't be with me. Someone else will get to wake to her terrible bedhead and her off-key singing in the shower. Someone else will get to hear her theories about movies and her plans for the future. Someone else will get to be loved by Maya, and they'll probably never know how lucky they are until it's too late. I know I'll never get her back. That ship sailed the moment I chose Sarah's hotel room over Maya's trust. But I keep hoping that somehow, someday, I'll find a way to forgive her being enough to let her go. Until then, I'll keep waking at 3 a.m., writing posts like this one, wondering what would have happened if I just waited 5 more minutes at that coaching center. If I just walked to her and said, "Hey, how was day?" instead of citing she didn't care about mine. 6 months after Maya left, I thought I'd hit rock bottom. Turns out I was wrong. Rock bottom was still coming. The first person to me off was my sister Emma. We'd been close our whole lives, but Maya wasn't just my girlfriend to her. Maya was the sister Emma never had. They'd go shopping together, text each other daily, make plans that didn't include me. She asked me to be her maid of honor. Emma said when she called me 3 days after Maya moved out. Her voice was ice cold. Didn't know that, Jake. She already bought the dress. I didn't know. Maya and I had talked about marriage, but I didn't know she'd already started planning. Didn't know she'd already imagined Emma standing beside her at our wedding. I can explain. No, her voice cracked. I don't want explanations. I want to know how I could do this to someone who loved that much. It's complicated. Cheated on her, Jake. Broke her heart, and now I have to watch her try to put herself back together. There's nothing complicated about that. Emma hung and didn't speak to me for 2 months. When she finally did call back, it was to tell me she'd helped Maya move to a different city, somewhere I'd never find her. She's scared of, Emma said. Not physically scared, but scared will keep showing, keep trying to convince her to come back. She needs space to heal. I just want to apologize properly. Had 2 years to treat her properly. Don't get to apologize way out of this. That phone call destroyed me because I realized Emma was right. Maya wasn't avoiding me out of anger. She was avoiding me out of fear. Fear that I'd manipulate her back into a relationship where she couldn't trust me. I'd become the kind of man women need to hide from. Work became a nightmare next. Sarah had been transferred to a different department after our conference, but rumors spread anyway. Office gossip is vicious, and somehow everyone knew I cheated on my long-term girlfriend with a colleague. My boss called me into his office on a Thursday morning. "Jake, we need to talk about recent performance." I'd been distracted, sure, but I thought I was holding it together professionally. Client presentation last week was unprepared. Missed 2 important deadlines this month, and frankly the drama with Sarah has made several people uncomfortable. Sir, I never brought personal into a work conference, Jake. Sarah's talking to HR about being pressured into an inappropriate relationship with a colleague who was in a committed relationship. She's claiming misrepresented relationship status. My stomach dropped. Sarah was rewriting history, making herself the victim. And technically she wasn't wrong. I had lied about my relationship with Maya. I had pursued her while committed to someone else. "We're not firing," my boss continued, "but being moved to a different team. Smaller accounts, less client interaction. Consider it a lateral move with a message attached." I wanted to defend, but what could I say? That I'd voluntarily destroyed my relationship and my reputation for someone who was now throwing me under the bus to protect herself. The demotion came with a pay. The pay meant I couldn't afford the apartment Maya and I had shared. I had to move back in with my parents at 28 years old. My mom tried to be supportive, but I could see the disappointment in her eyes every morning when I came downstairs for coffee. "Maya was good for," she said one day, not looking from her newspaper. "She made better. Mom. Father liked her. We were hoping." She trailed off, but I knew what she meant. They were hoping Maya would be their daughter-in-law. They were hoping for grandchildren, for family holidays, for the future Maya and I had been building. I know I messed. Mom finally looked at me. "Jake, messing is forgetting an anniversary. What did was cruelty." That word hit me like a physical. Cruelty. I'd never thought of it that way, but Mom was right. There was something cruel about leading Maya to believe we had a future while secretly planning to betray her. Something cruel about coming home to her bed after being with someone else. Something cruel about letting her blame herself for my distance, letting her think she'd done something wrong. Dad was even worse. He barely spoke to me at all, just looked at me with this profound disappointment that made me feel like I was 12 years old again, getting caught lying about breaking something. One night I overheard him talking to Mom in their bedroom. I raised him better than this, Dad said. I taught him to treat women with respect, to honor his commitments. Where did I go wrong? Didn't go wrong, Mom replied. Sometimes people make choices that don't reflect how they were raised. Maya called me no. Before she left town, she wanted to thank me for welcoming her into the family. I pressed my ear closer to the door. She was crying, Dad continued. This sweet girl was crying and thanking me for 2 years of Sunday dinners and birthday cards, like she was the one who should be grateful. Like she was the one who did something wrong. I had to walk away. I couldn't listen to any more. The worst part about living at home was the constant reminders of Maya. My parents had kept every Christmas card she'd signed, every photo from family gatherings, every little gift she'd brought to Sunday dinners. There was a picture on the mantel from last Christmas. Maya and me, her head on my shoulder, both of us laughing at something my nephew had said. She looked so happy, so secure in our relationship. I was already texting Sarah by then, already planning my betrayal, already choosing someone else over the woman who fit so perfectly into my family that my parents considered her a daughter. Friends started avoiding me too. Our friend group had been mostly couples, and apparently, my cheating had made everyone uncomfortable. Suddenly, I wasn't invited to game nights or birthday parties or weekend trips. I found out through social media that they were all still out without me, posting pictures from the same restaurants Maya and I used to go to, the same hiking trails we'd explored together. In one photo I saw Maya. She was visiting from her new city, smiling with our mutual friends, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. She looked thinner, sadder, like she was trying really hard to seem okay. The comments on that photo destroyed me. So good to see. Look amazing. Miss having around. Deserve so much better. Beautiful. Everyone knew. Everyone was on Maya's side, as they should be, but it meant I was completely alone. I started drinking too much. Not dramatically, not in a way that would get me fired from my already diminished job, but enough that my parents noticed. This isn't helping, Mom said, finding me on the couch with it at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Nothing's helping, I replied. Have considered that maybe not supposed to feel better yet. Maybe you're supposed to sit with this feeling for a while. What's that supposed to mean? Who means someone badly, Jake? Someone who loved killing terrible is exactly what deserve right now. Mom had never been cruel before, but she wasn't wrong. I did deserve to feel terrible. I deserved every sleepless night, every awkward family dinner, every lonely weekend, but deserving it and handling it were two different things. I started therapy like I mentioned, but my therapist was frustratingly focused on self-forgiveness and moving forward. I didn't want to move forward. I wanted to go backward. I wanted to undo everything. Can't change what happened, Durker, Martinez would say. Can only control how I respond to it now. I respond to it by hating pint. That's not productive. Neither was sleeping with Sarah, but I did it anyway. Dr. Martinez would sigh and make notes in her little pad, probably writing something like patient resistant to growth, or patient wallowing in self-pity. She wasn't wrong about the self-pity part. I was drowning in it. But here's the thing nobody tells about being the cheater: don't get to be the victim. Don't get sympathy or support groups or friends rallying around. Get exactly what deserve, which is nothing. Maya got to be the wronged party. Maya got to have people comfort her and tell her she was better off without me, and help her move to a new city for a fresh start. I got to be the cautionary tale. The guy everyone points to when they want to warn their friends about red flags. The example of what happens when take a good woman for granted. And the worst part, I couldn't even argue with that narrative, because it was completely accurate. 3 months into therapy, Dr. Martinez asked me a question that stopped me cold. Jake, what do you think Maya is doing right now? I don't know. Hopefully something that makes her happy. Do you think she's thinking about? Probably not. I hope not. Why to hope not? I had to think about that, because thinking about me would hurt, and she's been enough. So want her to forget? Yes. No, I don't know. I was getting frustrated. I want her to be happy. I want her to find someone who treats her the way she deserves. I want her to have the we plan, just with someone better than me. And what do want for? I want to deserve her back. But just said want her to be happy with someone else. I do want that. But I also want to be the person she could have been happy with. I want to go back and make different choices. Can't do that. I know I can't do that, I snapped. That's the problem. I can't fix this. I can't take it back. I can't earn forgiveness for something unforgivable. Dr. Martinez leaned forward. Jake, do you think you're staying stuck in this guilt because moving forward feels like betraying Maya again? I stared at her. She did something I hadn't even realized I was feeling. If I get better, if I move on, if I eventually date someone else, then it proves Maya was replaceable. I said slowly. It proves that what we had wasn't as special as I claimed it was. Or, Dr. Martinez said gently, it proves that capable of learning from mistakes and not repeating them. But Maya will never know that. Maya will never benefit from the better person I might become. No, she won't, but someone else might. That session messed me for weeks. The idea that I might someday be happy again felt like a betrayal of everything Maya and I had shared. But Dr. Martinez was right. Staying miserable forever wouldn't bring Maya back, or undo the damage I'd caused. It would just be another selfish choice disguised as devotion. Around month 8 I ran into Maya's best friend Jessica at a coffee shop. I tried to leave before she saw me, but she called my name Jake. We need to talk. We sat at a corner table, and Jessica looked at me with a mixture of pity and disgust that made me want to disappear. Maya's doing better, she said without preamble. In case we're wondering, I'm glad. Because she told me he'd been driving by her old apartment. They've called her work. I had called her work once, just to hear her voice, but I'd hung when the receptionist asked who was calling. I just wanted to make sure she was okay. She's okay despite not because of need to stop. I know. I have stopped. I just, miss her. Feel bad. Want forgiveness. Jessica's voice was rising. Don't get those things, Jake. Chose someone else over Maya and now have to live with that choice. I know that. Because Maya had to change her phone number. She had to move cities. She had to start over completely cause couldn't handle being told no. I never what? Never stalked her, never made her feel unsafe. Jake, she was terrified to show at her new job or follow her to her new apartment. That's what did to someone who loved. I felt sick. I hadn't thought of my attempts to contact Maya as stalking, but that's exactly what they were. I'd been so focused on my own guilt and need for closure that I hadn't considered how my actions were affecting her recovery. I'll stop, I said quietly. I'll stop trying to contact her, I promise. Should have stopped months ago. Jessica stood to leave, then turned back. Maya asked me to tell something if I ever saw. My heart jumped. What? She forgives. I started to feel relief, but Jessica wasn't finished. She forgives because holding on to anger was hurting her more than it was hurting. But forgiving doesn't mean she wants back, or that what did was okay, that deserve another chance. I understand. She also wanted me to tell that she loved completely. Past tense, and that she hopes someday I'll understand what a way. Jessica left me sitting in that coffee shop, crying into my overpriced latte like a pathetic cliche. Maya forgave me. Maya hoped I'd understand what I'd thrown away. But Maya was also done with me, completely and permanently, and I'd brought that on. That night I called Emma for the first time in months. I saw Jessica today, I told her. I know. She texted me. I need to know that I'm done trying to contact Maya. I'm done driving by places I might see her. I'm done hoping for reconciliation. Good. But I also need to know that I understand now. I understand that I didn't just cheat on Maya. I scared her. I made her feel unsafe. I turned into someone she needed protection from. Emma was quiet for a long time. Yeah, she finally said, I'm gonna get better. Not for Maya, cause it's too late for that. But so I never do this to anyone else. That's the first smart thing you've said in months. Will ever forgive me for what I did to her? For what I put our family through? I don't know, Jake. Ask me in a year. Emma hung, but for the first time since Maya left I didn't feel. I felt determined. Not determined to win Maya back because that ship had sailed. Determined to become the kind of person who would never make these choices again. The kind of person Maya deserved all along, even if she'd never know I'd become him. Because Jessica was right. Maya had loved me completely, and I'd thrown that away for a hotel room encounter with someone who didn't even stick around for the aftermath. The least I could do was make sure no one else ever got by my selfishness again. 2 years after Maya left, I thought I was healing. I'd been promoted back to my old position at work. I was living in my own apartment again. I'd even been on a few dates that didn't end in disaster. Then I got the wedding invitation. It arrived on a Tuesday morning mixed in with bills and junk mail. Cream-colored envelope, elegant script. My name written in handwriting I didn't recognize. Maya Chen and David Rodriguez request presents. I sat on my kitchen floor and read it 3 times before it sank in. Maya was getting married, to someone named David. Someone who probably treated her the way I should have. Someone who would never make her feel like she needed to change cities to feel safe. The wedding was in 6 weeks, in our old town. At the botanical garden where Maya and I had gone for our first official date. I called Emma immediately. No. I asked when she picked. No what? About Maya's wedding. Long pause. She invited me. Another pause longer this time. That's unexpected. What's going on? Why would she invite me to her wedding? I think should ask her that. I can't contact Maya. I promised Jessica I wouldn't. Jake, Maya sent the invitation. She obviously wants to communicate something. I stared at the invitation in my hands. At the bottom in small print was a handwritten note. There's something I need to know. Please come. Against every instinct telling me to stay away, I RSVP'd yes. The next 6 weeks were. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't focus on work. What could Maya possibly need me to know? Was this some kind of closure ritual? A final chance to tell me how much I'd hurt? Was she pregnant? Had she been pregnant when she left me? That thought kept me awake for 3 straight nights. The math worked. If Maya had been pregnant when she found out about Sarah, if she'd left town not just to escape me but to protect our child. I made sick thinking about it. The wedding was on a Saturday in October. Perfect weather, golden sunlight filtering through the botanical garden's glass ceiling. Maya had always said if we got married this is where she'd want it. Now she was getting married here, just not to me. I arrived early and sat in the back row, wearing the one good suit I owned, feeling like an intruder at my own funeral. People filed in slowly. I recognized some faces, mutual friends who'd chosen Maya's side, Maya's family members who used to invite me to their barbecues. None of them acknowledged me. I might as well have been invisible. Then Maya's parents walked in. Her mom saw me immediately. Instead of the anger or disgust I expected, her face crumpled with something that looked like pity. Her dad just shook his head sadly, like I was a stray dog who'd wandered into the wrong yard. They'd loved me once. Called me son. Talked about retirement plans that included babysitting our future children. Now they looked at me like I was a stranger they vaguely remembered disappointing. The music started, and Maya appeared at the back of the aisle. I'd prepared to see her, but nothing could have prepared me for this. She looked radiant. Not just beautiful, she'd always been beautiful, but genuinely happy. Glowing in a way I'd never seen before. Her dress was simple, elegant, nothing like the elaborate gown she described wanting when we talked about our someday wedding. This dress was her, completely her, chosen by someone who knew her well enough to understand that Maya didn't need sparkles or drama to be stunning. David was waiting at the altar. Kind-faced, looking at Maya like she was the only person in the world. Looking at her the way I used to look at her, before I got distracted by my own insecurities. Before I decided that wasn't enough. The ceremony was beautiful and personal and everything I'd imagined our wedding would be, except it wasn't ours. Maya had found someone else to share her dreams with. Someone else got to promise to love and cherish her. Someone else got to slide a ring onto her finger while she smiled like her heart was overflowing. Someone else got to her while their friends and family cheered. I stayed for the entire ceremony, torturing with every vow, every smile, every moment of joy that could have been mine if I'd made different choices. When the officiant said, "May the bride," and Maya and David while everyone applauded, I finally understood what I'd thrown away. Not just a girlfriend, not just a relationship. A future, a family, a love story that was supposed to be ours. At the reception I planned to find Maya, get whatever closure she needed to give me and leave. But she found me first. Jake. Her voice was soft, nervous. "Thank for coming, Maya." I couldn't manage more than her name. She looked incredible clothes, happy, settled, like someone who'd exactly where she belonged. Can we talk somewhere private? She led me to a quiet corner of the garden away from the music and laughter. I need to tell something, she said, and I needed to tell in person. My heart was racing. What is it? When I left, I was pregnant. The world stopped spinning. Everything I'd feared, everything I'd wondered about for 6 weeks was true. Maya. I lost the baby 2 months later. Miscarriage. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. Why didn't tell me? Because I was terrified to use it to try to get me back. And I couldn't handle that. Not then, I would have been there. I would have supported Pi. No, Jake. Would have seen it as chance to fix things between us. Would have made my grief about guilt. She was right. That's exactly what I would have done. I went through the miscarriage alone, she continued. Well, not alone. Emma was with me. My parents flew out. But I went through it without the father of my baby, because the father of my baby had chosen someone else over me. I started crying. Right there in Maya's wedding dress, on her wedding day. I broke down completely. Maya, I'm so sorry. I know are. But sorry doesn't change anything. I would have chosen. If I'd known, I would have chosen. Should have chosen me anyway. Her voice was firm but not angry. Should have chosen me before knew about the baby. Should have chosen me every single day for 2 years, and instead chose me until someone more exciting came along. I whispered. I still love Pawn, I know. And I love too. Completely. The way love someone or planning to spend with. Past tense. Past tense. We stood there in silence for a moment, watching her wedding reception through the glass doors. Her new husband was laughing with his groomsmen, looking over occasionally to make sure Maya was okay. He seems like a good guy, I said. He is. David is everything could have been if wanted to be. What do you mean? He's loyal, he's present. When I talk, he listens. When I need him, he shows. When I'm excited about something, he's excited with me. Every word was in my chest. He proposed at the coaching center. Maya continued. The same place where decided I didn't care about enough. Maya. He waited for me outside my class just like did. But when I came out talking to my study partner, David didn't get jealous or insecure. He walked to us, introduced himself, and then asked how my exam went. I closed my eyes but Maya kept talking. Later, when I told him about what happened, he said something that stuck with me. He said, if Jake had just walked to that day and asked about, everything would have been different. He's right. David also said he understood why I fell apart. He said anyone would be insecure if they felt like they were losing someone they loved. I looked at her in surprise, but then he said the difference between secure people and insecure people isn't whether they feel jealous. It's what they do with that jealousy. Secure people communicate. Insecure people sabotage. Which one was I? No, which one were? Maya adjusted her wedding dress, preparing to go back to her reception. Back to her new. Why did need to tell me this? About the baby. Because I needed to understand the full weight of what happened. Didn't just cheat on girlfriend. Abandon the mother of child. Even though didn't know it at the time, that's what did. Maya. If I could go back. And I need to stop living in the past. I need to stop defining by what lost, and start building something new. How can I do that when I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me? Be making sure never do it again, by becoming the kind of person who deserves love, even if that love isn't mine. She started walking back toward the reception, then turned around. Jake, I forgive, completely. Not because what did was okay, but because holding on to anger was keeping me from being happy. Don't thank me. Just learn from this. Find someone someday who makes want to be better, and then actually be better. What if I can't? What if I'm just broken, or not broken, or selfish? And selfishness is a choice, which means can choose differently. She walked back into her reception, back to David, back to the she'd built after I destroyed ours. I left the wedding and drove around for hours, replaying every word of our conversation. Maya had lost our baby while dealing with the trauma of my betrayal. She'd grieved alone because she couldn't trust me to put her needs above my own guilt, and she was right. I would have used the pregnancy as leverage to get her back, never mind what she needed to heal. I finally understood why Emma had been so angry, why my parents had been so disappointed, why our friends had all chosen Maya's side. They'd seen what I was too selfish to see. Maya wasn't just my girlfriend, she was a good person who deserved better than what I was capable of giving her at the time. 6 months after the wedding, I got another piece of news that destroyed me all over again. Emma called on a Sunday morning. Jake, I have something to tell. Maya's pregnant. Oh, I felt numb. That's good. David seems like he'll be a great father. She wanted to know in case heard from someone else. She didn't want it to be a shock. That's thoughtful of her. Jake, are okay? Was I okay? Maya was having the baby we lost. Maya was building everything we dreamed about, just with someone who deserved it. I'm fine, I lied. Don't sound fine. Can I ask something? When Maya was pregnant with our baby, was she happy? Long pause. She was terrified. But yeah, underneath the fear she was happy. She'd already started thinking about names. Did she want to tell me? Every single day. But she was more scared of using the baby to manipulate her than she was of going through it alone. I really didn't. Yeah, Jake, really did. After Emma Hun, I sat in my apartment and thought about that could have been. Maya and me raising our child together. Teaching them to ride bikes and helping with homework and watching them graduate. Instead, David would get to do all those things. David would get to see Maya become a mother, would get to hold their baby, would get to build the future Maya and I had planned. Because I'd chosen a hotel room over the woman who would have given me everything. I thought about the coaching center again, about that moment when I felt invisible and decided Maya didn't care about me enough. If I'd walked to Maya that day and said, hey, how did study session go? Everything would have been different. Maya would never have met David. Our baby would have lived. We'd be married by now, maybe with more children on the way. Instead, I was sitting alone in an apartment that felt more like a prison, watching the IOA play out on social media through mutual friends' posts. Maya glowing with pregnancy. Maya and David painting a nursery. Maya laughing at her baby shower, surrounded by friends who used to be our friends. Maya living the I'd been too and selfish to appreciate when it was mine. The worst part wasn't the loneliness or the regret. The worst part was knowing that Maya was genuinely happy, knowing that she'd found someone who loved her the way she deserved to be loved. Knowing that somewhere out there, David was probably rubbing Maya's feet and listening to her talk about her day, and feeling grateful every single morning that he got awake next to her. David was everything I could been if I'd made different choices, and Maya had become everything she was always meant to be, just with someone who was smart enough to recognize her worth from the beginning. I kept my promise to Maya. I built anew. I went to therapy consistently. I dated other women, and I never cheated or lied or made anyone feel the way I'd made Maya feel. But every single relationship felt like an apology to Maya. Every kind gesture, every honest conversation, every moment of loyalty was me trying to prove I could have been better for her, even though she'd never know it. I became a good partner eventually, just not for the woman who deserved it most. Last month I saw a picture on social media. Maya holding her newborn daughter, both of them healthy, and perked David's hand on Maya's shoulder, his face full of wonder and pride. The baby had Maya's eyes and David's nose and a full head of dark hair. She looked nothing like the child Maya and I lost. She looked exactly like who she was supposed to be, David and Maya's daughter. Looking at that picture, I finally accepted what I'd known but couldn't admit for 3 years. Maya didn't just move on from me, she moved. She found someone who showed consistently, who communicated instead of sabotaging, who chose her every single day without needing external validation to remind him of her worth. She found someone who would never make her pack her bags in tears, never make her feel unsafe, never make her grieve a miscarriage alone. She found someone who saw her talking to a study partner and thought, I should ask about her day. Instead of, she must not love me enough. I'll never get Maya back, and I don't deserve to. But I've learned to live with the weight of what I weigh, and more importantly, I've learned to make sure that weight means something. I volunteer at a crisis center now, talking to people who are about to make the same kinds of destructive choices I made. I tell them Maya's story with her permission, and I watch their faces change when they realize what betrayal really costs. Not just a relationship, a future, a family, a love that could have lasted forever if been brave enough to choose it consistently. I'm writing this because someone needs to hear it. Someone needs to understand that the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where water it. Maya was the love of and I watered someone else's garden instead of my own. Now she's someone else's wife, someone else's future, someone else's happy ending. And I'm just the cautionary tale she tells when people ask why she never settled for less than she deserved.